There's a quiet strength hidden in the green fields we often pass without noticing. A power that doesn't roar like thunder or glitter like gold, but whispers health into every cell of the body. In a world that worships instant cures, pills for pain, tonics for energy, injections for youth, we've forgotten the simple power that grows silently from the soil. Among thousands of foods nature offers, there exists one humble vegetable that stands as a guardian for nearly every organ we have. It doesn't demand attention, doesn't advertise itself, and yet within its florets lies a natural defense strong enough to prevent the rise of more than 10 different diseases. That vegetable is broccoli. Its ability to disarm toxins, fight free radicals, and even turn off genes that promote inflammation and cancer. What they found was astonishing. Imagine one simple act: adding a small green cluster to your plate, quietly shielding your heart, your liver, your brain, and even your DNA from the daily wear of life. No miracle pill. No marketing promise, just food, pure and powerful. Most of us see broccoli as a boring side dish, something steamed and forgotten beside mashed potatoes. But if you look closer, those tightly packed florets are more than vegetables. They're microscopic factories filled with antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and a compound so potent, this isn't another diet fad. This is biology in its most elegant form, a plant teaching the body how to heal itself. In this journey, we'll explore how this green guardian protects against 10 of the most common and deadly diseases of our time, from cancer and heart disease to diabetes, Alzheimer's, and liver damage. We'll understand how something so ordinary can be extraordinary once we learn to see it right. Listen closely. And as we walk through the science, the history, and the stories behind this humble vegetable, remember this: sometimes the cure doesn't come from the pharmacy. It comes from the earth itself. Before broccoli became a household name, it lived a quiet life along the Mediterranean coast, where wild cabbages grew on rocky cliffs shaped by sea wind and salt air. From those ancient greens, farmers selectively bred a plant with a flowering head so dense and rich that it became a new creation, broccoli. Its name, from the Italian broccolo, means the flowering crest of the cabbage. It sounds simple, but what lies inside those florets is anything but ordinary. Broccoli isn't just another green vegetable. It's a biological masterpiece, a rare plant that produces sulforaphane, a compound so powerful that it can switch on the body's own defense system at the genetic level. Here's what happens when you chew a piece of broccoli. Two chemicals meet, glucoraphanin and myrosinase. When they combine, they create sulforaphane, a compound that travels deep into your bloodstream, activating hundreds of protective enzymes that clean toxins, neutralize harmful molecules, and strengthen the walls of your cells. Most vegetables give nutrients. Broccoli gives instructions. It literally tells your body how to protect itself. That's what makes it so unique. It doesn't just deliver vitamins like vitamin C, K, or folate. It teaches your DNA to resist damage. It's like updating your body's software, turning on ancient codes of repair and resilience that modern lifestyles have nearly silenced. Even its color tells a story. That deep green hue, rich with chlorophyll, reflects an abundance of life energy. Iron for blood, magnesium for nerves, calcium for bones, potassium for the heart. Scientists often call broccoli a functional food, meaning it doesn't merely fill the stomach. It changes the body's chemistry. That's why daily consumption can slowly reshape your health from the inside out. But there's a catch. How you prepare it decides how much power it gives. Raw broccoli has the strongest dose of sulforaphane, while boiling it can destroy most of it. Lightly steaming, for just a few minutes, keeps the magic alive. Nature's design is fragile, but when treated with respect, it rewards us profoundly. In every bite of broccoli, you're not just eating a plant. You're awakening a biological defense system that evolution crafted over millions of years. And that defense is about to become your body's strongest ally in fighting one of humanity's oldest and most feared diseases, cancer. Cancer. A word that echoes with fear, uncertainty, and silent prayers. For centuries, humanity has searched for ways to stop this invisible enemy. And in that search, one of the most surprising allies turned out to be something we could grow in our own garden. Broccoli's connection to cancer prevention isn't a myth. It's one of the most studied relationships in modern nutrition science. The key lies within that compound we met earlier, sulforaphane. When sulforaphane enters your body, it doesn't attack cancer cells directly like a drug might. Instead, it triggers a natural army of enzymes and genetic protectors that patrol your cells day and night. They search for damaged DNA, repair it, and silence genes that promote tumor growth. It's as if broccoli whispers to your cells, "Remember who you are. Repair, restore, resist." Researchers from Johns Hopkins University were among the first to discover sulforaphane's anti-cancer power in the early 1990s. They found that this tiny molecule could boost the body's phase 2 detoxification enzymes responsible for neutralizing carcinogens, those toxic chemicals that cause DNA mutations. Later studies confirmed something even more remarkable. Sulforaphane could target cancer stem cells, the hidden seeds that make cancer come back even after treatment. By disarming these seeds, broccoli may help prevent the reawakening of disease long after it's gone. And it's not limited to one type of cancer. From breast and prostate to colon, lung, and bladder cancers, researchers have repeatedly observed lower risk among people who regularly eat cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli. What makes it even more fascinating is how gentle its power is. Unlike synthetic drugs that force their way into the body, sulforaphane works with your biology, not against it. It's not toxic. It's not invasive. It's a reminder of what the body can do when given the right tools from nature. Cooking plays a role here too. Overheat it, and you destroy the enzymes that make sulforaphane. But lightly steaming or pairing broccoli with a sprinkle of mustard seeds reactivates those same compounds, like reigniting a spark that turns food into medicine. There's something poetic about that. A vegetable we often push aside on our plates holds the ability to protect us from one of the deadliest forces known to mankind. No pharmaceutical advertisement, no loud claim, just quiet, persistent power. Cancer prevention doesn't always begin in hospitals. Sometimes it begins in kitchens, with the soft sound of steam rising from a pot and the scent of something green, pure, and protective filling the air. And while broccoli guards the body from cancer, it's not the only part of the story. That same compound, sulforaphane, also protects the heart that beats behind it all. The heart, the silent drummer of our lives. It beats more than 100,000 times a day, never resting, never asking for praise. And yet, it is often the first organ to suffer from the modern world's chaos, stress, fast food, sugar, and salt. But within that quiet green forest of broccoli florets lies a natural defense system designed for the heart's protection. Heart disease begins long before symptoms appear. It starts in silence. Tiny inflammations in the blood vessels, layers of fat clinging to artery walls, and oxidative stress slowly dulling the vibrant rhythm of life inside us. Broccoli's compounds, antioxidants, fiber, and phytonutrients, work together to calm this chaos. First, there's sulforaphane again, activating enzymes that reduce inflammation inside blood vessels. It helps arteries stay elastic, preventing the stiffening that leads to high blood pressure and stroke. Then there's fiber, the unsung hero. A single cup of broccoli can capture excess cholesterol in the gut, binding it before it ever reaches your bloodstream. Day after day, this gentle cleansing helps keep arteries clear and the heart lighter in its work. Vitamin K in broccoli prevents calcium from depositing where it doesn't belong, inside artery walls. Instead, it guides it to bones, keeping the skeleton strong and the vessels smooth. Meanwhile, Potassium balances the body's sodium, preventing the blood from thickening and reducing pressure on the heart. Every element of broccoli seems perfectly designed for cardiovascular harmony. Even its antioxidants, lutein, beta-carotene, and vitamin C, protect LDL cholesterol from oxidation, the very process that turns a soft, fatty layer into a hard, dangerous plaque. It's a quiet revolution inside the bloodstream, one that medicine often mimics, but nature performs effortlessly through food. Studies show that people who eat cruciferous vegetables regularly have lower risks of heart attack and stroke, not because of one magic nutrient, but because of the orchestra of compounds working in unity, like instruments in a symphony. Imagine your arteries as rivers. Over time, debris builds up and the current slows. Broccoli acts like the gentle rain that clears the way, keeping the water clean and moving freely. There's no side effect, no dependency, just a slow, natural return to balance. In a world where the heart is constantly burdened by stress, caffeine, and noise, a small serving of broccoli is like silence, a reminder of calm, of rhythm, of the steady beat that keeps life going. And that same green rhythm extends its kindness beyond the heart, to the system that struggles with imbalance every single day, the body's control over blood sugar. Diabetes doesn't arrive overnight. It builds quietly, over years of small choices, a little more sugar, a little less movement, a little more stress that never seems to fade. And then one day, the body forgets how to listen to insulin, the messenger that once guided sugar calmly into our cells. But among the foods studied for their role in reversing this process, one keeps appearing again and again. Yes, broccoli. To understand why, we have to look deep into how diabetes works. When blood sugar rises too often, cells become resistant to insulin's gentle knock. Sugar lingers in the bloodstream, causing inflammation and damaging tiny blood vessels in the eyes, kidneys, and heart. Broccoli doesn't simply lower blood sugar, it restores sensitivity. It helps the body remember how to respond again. Inside broccoli lies that same extraordinary compound, sulforaphane, which turns on genes that protect the pancreas, the fragile organ that makes insulin. It also slows the liver's tendency to release too much glucose into the blood. In one Swedish study, researchers gave sulforaphane extract to people with type 2 diabetes. After weeks, their fasting blood sugar dropped significantly, as much as if they had taken standard medication. The difference? No side effects, no strain on the liver or kidneys. Broccoli's fiber adds another layer of defense. Each stalk contains soluble fiber that slows digestion, allowing glucose to enter the bloodstream gradually instead of spiking and crashing. It's like replacing a flood with a calm stream. Even magnesium in broccoli helps. It supports the enzymes that allow insulin to work efficiently at the cellular level. It's a small mineral with a huge impact on blood sugar stability. For those living with diabetes, broccoli becomes more than a vegetable. It's a daily companion. A cup of lightly steamed broccoli with a drizzle of olive oil, a sprinkle of mustard seeds to activate sulforaphane. It's not just food. It's medicine in disguise. And yet, the beauty lies in its simplicity. No laboratory process, no prescription. Just a plant, cultivated by sunlight and soil, offering the body what it forgot to create on its own. Broccoli does what modern diets undo. It repairs communication between organs. It lowers inflammation that makes insulin less effective. And most importantly, it helps prevent the chain reaction that leads from prediabetes to lifelong disease. So when you think of diabetes prevention, don't imagine bitter pills or complex diets. Imagine a bowl of green, each floret a message of balance and renewal. Because when the body's chemistry calms, the heart, liver, and brain begin to follow. And speaking of the brain, that most delicate and complex of organs, broccoli's protection doesn't stop at the bloodstream. Its influence reaches even into the quiet electrical storms of memory, focus, and thought. The brain, the universe inside us. 86 billion neurons, each one pulsing with electrical life, storing memories, shaping emotions, and weaving the story of who we are. But with time, that universe begins to dim. Cells lose their spark, connections falter. And slowly, names, faces, and moments start slipping through the fingers of memory. This is the quiet tragedy of Alzheimer's disease, a condition that steals the past and clouds the present. Yet even here, in the most fragile corners of the human body, broccoli has a role, not as a cure, but as a guardian of clarity and calm. The secret once again lies in its chemistry, in sulforaphane, vitamin K, and choline, nutrients that defend the brain from the silent fires of inflammation and oxidation. When sulforaphane enters the bloodstream, it crosses into the brain and begins neutralizing harmful free radicals, tiny sparks that slowly burn through neurons over time. By calming this oxidative storm, broccoli helps preserve the delicate architecture that carries memory and thought. Then comes vitamin K, an unsung hero in cognitive health. It supports the synthesis of sphingolipids, a special type of fat that protects neurons, and helps them communicate efficiently. In simpler words, it keeps your thoughts connected, and choline, found naturally in broccoli, fuels the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply linked to learning and memory. Low levels of acetylcholine are one of the earliest signs of Alzheimer's progression. Together, these nutrients create a quiet shield inside the brain, one that doesn't stop time, but slows its wear. Research from neuroscientists around the world has shown that people who eat cruciferous vegetables perform better in memory tests as they age. Their risk of cognitive decline is lower, their minds stay sharper, and their moods more balanced. This protection isn't only for the elderly. Even in younger adults, the antioxidants in broccoli help the brain recover from stress, sleep deprivation, and environmental toxins. It's as if each bite rewinds a little of the fatigue that modern life leaves behind. There's something almost poetic about it, a vegetable grown in sunlight helping preserve the light within the mind. It reminds us that the line between food and medicine is thinner than we think. A simple bowl of green, perhaps shared over dinner, isn't just nourishment. It's a small act of memory preservation, a gesture of care toward the future self. But while the brain depends on calm and clarity, the body also depends on structure, on bones and joints that carry us through life. And even there, the quiet power of broccoli continues its work. Bones are not as silent as they seem. They are alive, constantly renewing, constantly repairing, a living framework that holds us upright through decades of movement, weight, and time. But as the years pass, the balance shifts. Bone loss begins to outpace bone creation. The sturdy pillars of youth turn fragile, and joints, once smooth and fluid, start to grind and ache with the slow wear of life. In this quiet battle within the body, broccoli once again steps forward as a defender. Few realize that this humble green vegetable is one of the richest natural sources of vitamin K, a nutrient essential for bone formation. Vitamin K works like a guide, directing calcium to the right place, into the bones where it belongs, and keeping it away from the arteries, where it can cause stiffness and disease. Alongside it stands calcium, found in generous amounts within each stalk, and magnesium, which helps that calcium bind effectively into the bone matrix. It's a partnership written perfectly by nature, one nutrient activating the other. But the protection doesn't stop at density. Inside broccoli are compounds that defend the joints themselves. The same sulforaphane that fights cancer also slows down the enzymes that break down cartilage, the soft, cushion-like tissue that lets our bones glide without pain. In clinical studies, scientists observed that sulforaphane can actually inhibit the destruction of joint cartilage, reducing inflammation and slowing the progression of osteoarthritis, one of the most common joint disorders in aging adults. Imagine that, a vegetable helping to preserve the smooth motion of the body. keeping knees, hips, and shoulders moving freely, long after the years might have otherwise stiffened them. And there's another gift hidden in its green depths, vitamin C, which aids in the production of collagen, the structural protein that forms the connective tissue holding muscles and bones together. Every bite of broccoli, then, is like giving your skeletal system a toolkit of renewal, nutrients, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds all working in perfect timing. The result isn't dramatic. It doesn't happen overnight, but over weeks, months, and years, the bones grow a little stronger, the joints stay a little smoother, and movement remains a little more graceful. Perhaps that's the quiet secret of longevity. Not to chase youth, but to maintain strength. And broccoli, in its simplicity, has been strengthening humans since long before science understood why. Yet while bones and joints support movement, another organ silently supports everything, filtering toxins, balancing nutrients, and keeping the inner world clean. It is the liver, the body's great purifier. And broccoli, once again, plays a remarkable role there too.